We were lucky enough to get approval to fly into Japan this summer and be there during the Olympics. Right now, almost all non-Japanese are banned from visiting Japan. So how did we do it? I'm a US citizen, and these are the steps I took to get my permission to go to Japan during COVID time. There are basically only 3 ways to get into Japan during this time. 1. You have to be a Japanese national. 2. You're assigned by a government agency like the US military to do business there. Or 3. You're married or have family members who are a Japanese national, and you can apply to go via a temporary visitor visa or spouse of Japanese visa. I fall under the last category with a temporary visitor visa. It helps that my wife is a Japanese citizen, and we were planning to visit our family since the time our baby K was born. For my process, we start off by going back to April, where I was applying for a temporary visitor visa, and I got all my forms ready. There's a checklist that they provide, and next up are the paperwork that I had ready. You'll need a valid passport, visa application form, round-trip tickets with confirmed reservations, a detailed day-by-day itinerary, tax returns, and most recent bank statements, a statement showing the reason why you're applying for a visa and the proof, and the letter of a reason for invitation from Japan. A link is provided in the description if you're interested in accessing the documents. This process was current when we applied, and it will probably change as the year goes on. With all my completed paperwork, we went to the Japanese consulate in person and applied. This process didn't take too long. We had to do a quick security check to go in, and the application process itself took about 20 minutes. The consulate kept my passport, and I was told it would take a month to get a reply. Maybe due to the Olympics, the process took twice as long. I got my approval near the end of June. I was getting anxious and called the consulate a couple times, but the phone was broken during the weeks leading to my approval. Someone was able to pick up, but they said the building was having their phone line updated. What a weird reason to have the phones down for 2 weeks. But at long last, I got my approval. It was printed onto my passport, and I signed an approval form to have my wife pick up my passport since I was working during the week. Along with picking up my passport, we got forms showing what the next steps are. Is get COVID negative results 72 hours prior to our flight departure, a health condition questionnaire with the QR codes, and downloading apps. We'll go over this later. The day before our flight, we got our COVID testing at St. Luke's Clinic in Ala Moana. We chose to go with them since they used the forms provided by the Japanese government. The testing was very quick. We were expecting a nasal swab, but it ended up being a saliva test. Each of us took turns spitting saliva 5 times into a cup, and that was it. For baby K, we used a syringe to collect his saliva. Baby K was a very good boy. He didn't cry at all. He opened up his mouth and waited to get his saliva collected. We picked up the forms later that day, and we were all set for our flight. Check out our first video in the series about baby K's first flight. When we landed, we began our own Olympic walking journey to clear the COVID protocols. The whole process from leaving the gate to clearing immigration took 2.5 hours. First, there were 2 lines, one for regular people like us and one for Olympic personnel like athletes and trainers. We didn't see any Olympic people during our check-ins, but there were plenty of workers and check-ins we had to go through. We couldn't film during the time, but we could say there was about 12 check-in points, with each checking for something different. The stops includes one for each paperwork. You have to do another saliva COVID test, and a stop for each app. Because baby K couldn't make enough saliva on his own, he had to do a nasal test, which he did not like at all. He cried, but was a good boy, and even said goodbye to the doctor as we left. Pro tip, make sure you download the 3 apps before you fly out. You don't have to open it and register on the apps. You'll be doing it with a helper there. Near the end, we waited for our COVID results to come in as negative, and the last steps was to clear immigration and pick up our luggage. Since I'm a foreigner, our whole family had to go to the foreigner line. There was no wait, and only 3 people were working at the time. the lady who was checking my passport did a very thorough check. I swear she triple checked everything before we got the okay to get our bags. The 3 apps that we had to download are the COVID-19 contact app, overseas Entrants Locator, and an app called MySOS. For all these apps, they make sure your GPS on your phone is turned on via Google Maps, and at the airport, they go through each app with you to make sure it works. Starting with the COVID-19 contact app, it's a straightforward app that allows you to check close contacts and register positive test results if you have it. The workers at the airport send you a test email at one of the check-ins to make sure the app is working. Usually you don't have to open it at all, and shortly after 11 a.m. every day, this app will send you an email asking how you're feeling and if you've been in contact with someone in your household who may be sick. You'll see an example on how it's done. Kind of without fail, around a little after 11. I say 11:02 every day. Sending me an email. We check in. Usually just click this link, boop. And many choices from, usually I go English. This person's returning to or entering Japan. The Minister of Health, Labor, and Welfare. For 14 days after arriving, if you do just run, So this is one of the apps. And this is usually the first question. It's like, no, and we hit no, the second one pops up. Anyone you're living with. Usually, if you're feeling good, nope. That's really it. You hit the confirm response. Boom. Response has been sent. Is this it? Yep. And that's it. You're all done. Next is the Overseas Entrants Locator. This is another very easy to use app. When you first get back to your place of stay, you have to use the check-in button. This will make the area of your stay as home base, and the government will use that location to compare it with where you are during the random part of the days. They ask you to report your current location. Reporting your current location is easy. It's literally one click and everything is taken care of. As so. Health monitoring overseas. Locator app. Get a notification like that. It takes you to this one. It's really simple. Click. I'm here. And done. Really, like 10 seconds. Last is the MySOS app. This is the one where the government can give you a video call to see where you're at, along with getting your GPS location. From my experience, they can give an AI call every day at a random time, and you can get a in-person call where there's a live person asking you some questions. I think the most they ever did was 2 AI calls and an in-person call in one day. From my experience with these apps, they can start requesting your information as early as 10:20 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. This can be different for other people, and it can change as time goes on. Here are some clips of the MySOS calls. As we were writing this episode, they updated the MySOS app. It looks like they're using the MySOS to replace the Overseas Entrants Locator. These are a few screenshots of how the update looks like. Alright, thanks for watching. So if you like this episode, please give us a like and subscribe. Thank you.